later. But for now, Veto effects. If you run a business, a small business, a medium business, a large business with corporations, what are some of the things that we are looking at? Sometimes payment options are too slow. They're too expensive. They're hidden charges. You don't know if you can change into another currency. You don't know if it will reach another country. You don't know if your goods, we don't know. The Veto effects then just gives you this satisfaction of knowing. What do you know? Number one, that you can transact to 190 plus countries. Check. That you can transact in 49 different currencies. Check. That you can transact and your money will not get somewhere lost in the Bermuda Triangle. Check. That you can transact and you will not have hidden fees. Check. And that your fees for these transactions will be affordable. Check. 5 checks all in one. It's fantastic stuff. What you need to do to find out how you can make your business transactions seamless is get onto the website www.vetofx.com. Now, when you get all your ducks in a row and you're thinking about, okay, now is the time when I want to put a significant piece of real estate behind and I want to be able to do that through a mortgage, CT's been waving this magic wand for a couple of days and he's going to wave it a little bit more and spread some diamond dust in the air. Yes?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, diamond dust, here it comes. You want to buy a house.
Mm-hmm.
You want to own a home.
I do.
Me too.
The money you have is not quite doing the thing. Diamond Trust is saying, let us help you do the thing. Come, talk to us. Either send us an email at mortgages@dtbafrica.com or visit any Diamond Trust branch. And this is what they will tell you. See, this is what you call a sneak preview. They will tell you that you will be eligible for a loan whether you are self-employed, whether you have a pay slip. They will also tell you that in addition to all these things, you will get 9% interest payment if you take a mortgage for 10 years. If you take a mortgage for 25 years, 9.75. They're also saying we do not have any hidden charges whatsoever. And we have a schedule of payment. If you pay ahead of that schedule, we will not penalize you. Now, let me just take a deep breath and ask you, do things get better than this?
It doesn't get better than that.
Exactly.
It doesn't get better than that.
Send an email or visit the nearest DTB branch.
You said mortgages at? Oh, you didn't say?
I did. At dtbafrica.com.
Mortgages at dtbafrica.com.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. There, so that when you buy that house and you get it all done, you'll invite us for what is that thing they call?
Housewarming.
Thank you
It's
very much.
Oh, yes.
Housewarming, not homecoming.
No. It is housewarming.
Okay.
Warming. Yes.
Sour. Now, 1 million people. 1 million people make their way into the job market every year. 1 million. 1 million. And sometimes folks don't have the skills that they need to be able to make the connect between here where you are and a job or a business. So we've seen the gap. Okay, we have now joined myself with KCB Foundation. And they say, you know what? Let's create something whereby folks will have the opportunity to then get the skills that they need to get into the job market or start a business. So it's the 2Giajiri program. The 2Giajiri program is connecting youth between the ages of 18 and 35 with the skills that they need to then enter said market. So you get into a 6-month training course, whether it's masonry, you want to be a mason? No problem. Whether it is automotive engineering, whether it is construction, beauty and design, tailoring up in a plethora of things that you can then get involved with. You get on the training for 6 months. You come out of that with a certificate. They give you the toolkit that you need to go and either start your own business or connect with a job and a little bit of some credit so that you can actually start a business if that's what you want to do. They're able to also connect you around the country with opportunities in otherwise known as jobs that you maybe would not have been able to get before. So the 2Giajiri program is making life better for those folks who got the shorter end of the stick and putting out 155,000 young people so far and counting. You also can be part of this. How do you want to do it? 18 to 35, you want to connect with skills that you need, not finding the way out. The 2Giajiri program is there for you. Go to www.kcbgroup.com/foundation. Find out about the next cohort, be a part of it, and make the connect between skills and opportunity.
And
Yes.
you tell these guys what 2Giajiri actually means?
No, now that's why you're here.
Yeah. People have been saying, oh, there are no jobs. We're waiting for the Serikali's idea. But this guy's actually saying you can create those jobs for yourselves.
Oh, for yourself.
Yes.
Voila.
Let us do this thing together. Let's stop the blame game and actually take over the initiative and do something about it. So, Najiajiri, Tujiajiri, Sote, Tujiajiri.
Bus. See, now you learn something new every day. Okay, so we're going to get into SHA conversation. And as we do that this hour, our guest will join us in a short while, I assume. There have been certain things that have been said over the last couple of weeks. SHA is not working. We cannot get the services that we need. It's only paying a certain amount. We don't know who's going to be able to help us. It goes on and on and on. Now, as though the water was not deep and murky enough, the rural and urban private hospitals are rejecting SHA, and they're also rejecting the police and teachers' covers. And they're saying, no. Why are they doing this? Because you owe us a pretty sum of 8 billion shillings, and we're not going to be able to continue to offer the service when you have such a big debt. Now, this debt came under NHIF. NHIF has since transitioned to SHA, but they're saying that notwithstanding, it's still the same entity. You've not paid us that money. We don't know that you're going to pay us that money today. So in the meantime, we're not going to be able to take on any new patients. We're not going to be able to take in any new clients because of this big debt that you owe to us. Now, those who may have been under treatment before today, Monday the 24th, we will be able to take them in. We will be able to continue their treatment. Once they have been stabilized, we will then send them off to a facility of their choice, or have them pay cash. If you're coming to us, pay cash. Don't come to us under the cover. Don't come to us as police under the cover. Don't come to us as teachers under the cover, because you do what? You owe us money. It's possible that Dr. Brian Leshenga, who is the chair of the Rural and Urban Private Hospitals Association of Kenya, is on his way, and he'll be with us in a few minutes. But even as we get into the conversation, let's just do a touch point.
Right.
That SHA rolled in on the 1st of October. It took a month to be able to kind of, settle everything. People were doing registration, etc., etc. And then we started to hear, not just out of the wood, but in terms of reality, what was going on. That folks were not able to access what they needed to in terms largely of information.
Yes.
That do I go to a level 1 hospital when I've had a recurrent issue with, dialysis? No. And the sad thing is that we were told, well, at this level, you cannot come. And that's where the conversation ended. In terms of information, in terms of what should be given to you for you to go on to the next, that was poor. And I think to their credit, whether it's coming from the Ministry of Health or whether it's coming from senior advisors of government or SHA itself, they have said that one of the big pain points for SHA has been the lack of proper communication. And that they wanted to see something that they would wanted to get into doing this properly. We've heard senior advisor Moses Kuria say this several times, even as late as a couple of days ago, last week, where he said, yes, we know that communication is an issue. We need to be very clear about how this is all going to work. Now, we have also seen in the last couple of weeks that Director of Medical Services, Dr. Amoth, has said, you know what, we don't have enough money at shift level. Remember, this is where your contribution comes in. That 2.7% that you pay goes directly to shift. Because that's now where your premiums go, and that's where now when you go to access medical care, your premiums come from that. Now, we are not able to pay enough to handle those situations. Why? Because not enough people are in the pool, and we cannot deliver as much as we would like to if we don't have enough people in the pool. So we're going to go out and try and see as many people as we can would register. As though night was not dark enough. This issue of 8 billion shillings has now come rearing its ugly head. And the private and faith-based organizations have said, you know what? Y'all owe us 8 billion shillings. You've owed us this money from 2017. We've been asking you to pay. You paid us a little bit, but now we're getting to the point whereby we're not able to continue offering these services if you're not going to pay us the money that you owe us. And this is where we are today. That if you come under SHA, you come to any of our facilities today, Monday the 24th, we're not going to be able to help you. If you come with cash, we can help you. But if you come under the cover, we're not going to help you. And that is where we stand today.
And you can imagine, as you have said so far, and all these guys we're talking about, teachers, police officers, it's not like they shouldn't actually get, quality health services. They are just like every other Kenyan, and they ought to get the services. However, these guys have been pushed to a tight corner. And according to Kenya Health Facility Census of 2023, 71% of all hospitals in Kenya are level 2, with 48% being government, 47% private, while 5% are faith-based. Now, the report shows that 20% of hospitals are level 3, while 7% are level 4, with only less than 1% being level 5 and 6. In that report, private hospitals are responsible for 46% of healthcare in the country. It's a dire need, however, that these particular records are set straight and things need to be moving, because you know how many Kenyans will be running to not private hospitals, but these public, hospitals and health or religious-based hospitals. Now, so far, the issue is what we're calling a crisis. All right, it is a crisis. Now, I like what Wendu said, that communication is the heart of this problem. But the effort of making sure that we cure, all right, when we're looking at this, is going over and over, even through the transition. It has always been, could you please get down not only communicating to those recipients of the service, but the health practitioners as well, and the stakeholders. Now, the billions that we're talking about are essentially things that ought to have been done, settled, NHIF, defunct, crossing over into the SHIF, which is now essentially causing this puzzle. When is the question?
Well, one would have to go back to the issues that bedeviled NHIF.
Yes.
At that point, to be able to find out, all right, that there were premiums that were being paid by many a Kenyan. I believe on the grid at the time, the former NHIF boss told us very clearly, I think at that point we had about 13 million people contributing, between 13 and 14 million people contributing to NHIF at that time. And give or take the 800 shillings or 1400 shillings that was paid, that is the kind of money that they had to then pay for medical services should you present yourself to hospital. Now, unfortunately, many times what we're dealt with was issues of corruption at that level.
Yes.
That they couldn't find a lot of the funds that would come in at that point, and that it was very clear that this money was then unavailable to have people treated in the manner in which they should. Now, if this is a carryover, so now today we're dealing with a hangover of things that were happening during NHIF, but we still have the same governing body.
Right.
We still have the same governing body today who is handling these matters to be able to tell us, okay, so what exactly is going to happen and which direction are we then essentially going to take? Well, we're going to get into that conversation this hour. And as we do, Dr. Brian Lishenga is the chair of the Rural and Urban Private Hospitals Association of Kenya, and he's here with us this morning. Daktari, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I am well, and how are you?
Good. I'm doing as well as I can do.
We have been waiting for you. Have your woes been plaguing you this morning?
Have
your woes been plaguing you this morning? Because we've waited for you for a minute.
Yes. Quite a bit happening everywhere around the country.
Yeah.
And so I'm on call most of the time, and meetings back to back.
Okay.
So.
All right. Well, let's welcome you today with today's proverb, and CT is in a different African country today. Okay. Let's hear what it is that you have to say about that, and then we get into this conversation.
Yes. We are in the Republic of Mali. Mali. Mali in Kiswahili means what?
Wealth.
Yes.
Mali safi.
Okay.
It just came to my mind. Really.
Okay, let me give you a wealth proverb, shall I?
Yes.
Okay. He who longs too much for a child will marry a pregnant woman.
I don't know whether this is a case of the end justifies the means.
It could.
It strikes me like something like if you are waiting for something, the child is the objective here. And so one way to get to that objective is to marry a woman who is already expectant. And in history, there's so many examples of this. It's a great show. It's a great approach.
It's a good approach.
Yeah, it's a good approach.
Good approach to what exactly?
To fixing that problem.
At least you're sure of the end result.
You're sure.
See,
Okay.
this man is a doctor. So when he tells you fix that problem,
Yeah.
indeed, huh?
Okay.
Yes, it solves that problem, doesn't
It
it?
does solve the problem.
That problem.
Yes,
That
and
problem,
Okay.
as long as you keep your private matters private,
Yes.
the baby is gonna be yours.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
After all, it's in your house.
Yes.
Okay.
Your house, yeah.
They would never know.
Yeah.
Okay.
So talking about things in your house, that Terry, there's a small matter of 8 billion shillings. There's a small matter, well, actually, maybe even a larger matter now, of folks who are going to turn up to hospitals today, who will turn up to private hospitals, who will turn up to faith-based organized hospitals or facilities, are hoping to access their medical services under their SHA covers and are not going to be able to do so. Why?
So the issue here is an issue of government. Government exists in perpetuity, you know. So in essence, even if you elect different people, government is government. So when you transition, say, from the Jubilee administration to the Kenya Kwanza administration, you change the people, but government remains government. And that is why, for instance, we have sovereign debt obligations that were taken under the Kibaki era, the Uhuru era. And when Uhuru took over, he had to service Kibaki era sovereign liabilities. His Excellency, the President, has to service any liabilities that were taken over under His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta, the former President. And so the contention here has been the handling of NHIF liabilities, which in real sense, and this is one of the things that private hospitals and faith-based hospitals are trying to get the country to understand, that we offer credit facility to government. When we provide healthcare under SHA and MAKL for teachers and police officers, what we are essentially doing is providing services on credit. I hear a certain narrative which I want to clarify this morning, that people use examples of patients who have gone to hospitals and gotten care approved for huge amounts of money. I had a surgery, SHA paid for me 500,000, 400,000, 300,000. And we tend to use this as examples that evidence that SHA is working. I just want to clarify that what you are celebrating is the extension of credit by a hospital to the government. That is what you are really celebrating. You should be celebrating the goodwill of healthcare providers to provide that credit service without unduly inconveniencing you. So the issue here is that when we are saying SHA is working, we are actually saying hospitals are working. They are doing what they are supposed to do, regardless of the financial situation they are going in. But I also want us to understand that even if you have a credit facility somewhere, it is not limitless. It is not in perpetuity. If you take a credit facility somewhere, people will understand, even your local duka, from time to time they put a poster saying no credit facilities accepted here anymore. You have gotten used to, you reach there in the evening and you go to the canteen and say, give me milk, I will pay you, and you have some sort of arrangement. At some point, if that shop gets to a point where your record in that Excel book has become too big, they are going to tell you that, unfortunately, today we can't give you milk and bread because, you see, you have not been servicing your credit facility. So people might praise that shop or the credit facility, say it's amazing. But the day when the chickens come home to roost and you have to service your debt, if you don't service your debt, there are consequences.
Okay. So what we're saying essentially that across board, and we're not just talking about now private hospitals, rural hospitals, faith-based hospitals, but across board, that Ndu went to hospital, accessed medical care. I was hospitalized for 3 days, whatever the case may be. I've come out of it, given my SHA credentials, it's paid. That's done. But what you're saying is it's a credit facility that has been rendered essentially to government. and later they'll sort out the issues, but I walk out.
Yes.
Okay, so I walk out of hospital and I've been sorted.
And this is why people elect governments, because governments guarantee that you will get public services.
Right.
But they guarantee this on the back of contracts with different service providers.
Right.
And hospitals, public, private, or mission, are actually service providers who are on contract with government. We are all offering services on behalf of government.
So in the back end, what we are saying essentially is then that the movement of then funds from government to these institutions is not happening.
This is exactly what we are saying. Okay. And unfortunately, the posture taken by government is that continue. And you just continue providing care. It is a what public good. Healthcare is a very sensitive matter. I just want to paint the picture here.
Okay.
That you have a SHA under Article 50 of the SHA Act, the Chief Act that created the Social Health Authority, which is also known as the first schedule. That first schedule clearly states that SHA will inherit all the assets and liabilities of NHIF. Now, NHIF has buildings, like the headquarters at Rigati Road is one of the assets. The vehicles, the computers, the desks, even the HR was inherited. But we have a situation where the posture of those who took over has been that we are fine using the assets, but we are not fine with the liabilities.
Okay.
So this posture is what is crippling the sector. Now, there are those who argue that SHA is paying providers so well and so promptly and so earlier than the debt. We have a contract that says we should be paid within 90 days. Now, SHA has been doing everything it can to service providers earlier than 90 days. Of course, there are challenges there, because even that earlier than 90 days does not mean that all the claims are being paid. So if you go granular, you find that, yes, they are doing earlier than 90 days, but not 100% because of technical issues with the SHA ERP. However, the key point here is that the money that we are receiving for SHA debt is not a favor. This money that they are paying us now for offering services to SHA clients is actually a contractual obligation that they have to pay that money. So if Ndu comes to hospital and hospital in good faith offers you services, it is not a favor when SHA pays that hospital. So they cannot go around trumpeting and say, but we are doing so well for these hospitals, they should be happy. Why would you celebrate if somebody pays you your debt? Why would you go and say, you are such a nice person, you pay debts, etc. The only thing you do is that because of the goodwill they have demonstrated, you continue extending the credit service. Now, in the case of SHA, what is happening is that, and then I should make this point, that when you pay us for SHA debt, that money is used to pay service providers within the health ecosystem for SHA services. So that surgery we did, there is a doctor behind it, there is a nurse behind it, there's a pharmaceutical company behind it now, not yesterday, now. So when you pay me, I service those guys. Now, the problem we have is that you have not paid me for guys that serviced me since 2017. There are people who serviced us since 2017 that have not been paid.
Right.
So those guys who happen to be the same guys who are offering services now, what they tell hospitals is, oh, you've called me for that appendectomy. I will come, but please remember you owe me money from 2019. So if you really want me to come, do this. You pay me for 2019, then I'm going to come and sort out your case. So this is not a strike. We want the Kenyan public to understand that this is not a strike. This is a stoppage of extension of credit facility to government because government has been a bad creditor. This is what it is. So we have been giving them credit facilities. Now we have the option of either we auction our business, we retrench our staff, or we end up in small claims court. So it is either us or them.
But I have to ask a question. I'm going to go to a break. Sorry. I know you have a question and it's burning. You too. I was angry. We'll come back in a minute. But obviously, when somebody has your money, you ask them regularly, CT, how far? What's happening? Isn't it? When do you think we can clear this? 2017 to 2025 is 8 years, So what has been the response when the question has been, when do you think we will get these payments that are owed?
Even though I believe you got about 4.5 billion, was that give them to you guys?
So let me.
Yes,
I take this and then. So over the years, what has been happening is a shifting of goalposts. So payment of in piecemeal. You need to understand that unlike road contractors and people who supply stationery, you see when you are doing a road, okay, the road is 28 kilometers. You start from here, you stop from here. That is done. Everybody goes home. You cannot extend it to become 28.5. It is done. You don't keep constructing a road in perpetuity. However, when you are offering healthcare services, you offer healthcare services forever, because they are human beings.
Yes.
So we are in a situation where you cannot lump us with other government contractors because you are still incurring our debt even now as we talk. Today, as we speak, as we are here right now, SHA is still asking hospitals to incur more debt. So even, just to answer your question, even the 4.5 billion is a drop in the ocean.
Okay.
Between October and today, as we are talking since SHA transitioned, SHA has already accumulated 18 billion worth of claims.
Which means they have given services worth 18 billion.
This is the claims that Kenyans have produced, 18 billion worth of claims, of which SHA, in its own statements before Parliament, has paid 11 billion. So there's still 7 billion some money there.
All right.
And by the end of today, it will be 7-point-something billion. It is continuing to go on. So we must have a commitment from government that this is not, healthcare cannot be funded the way you fund, for example, infrastructure projects.
All right.
It is a permanent obligation. And therefore, you are asking me for credit daily. You are asking providers for credit daily. Some people asked me, why is it that, say, some public hospitals, the cost of care is cheaper? I always tell them the cost of care is not cheap at public hospitals. If you want to feel cost of care at public hospitals, just remember how much you're paying in taxes.
Indeed.
Okay.
All right. Dr. Brian Lishenga, who is the chair of the Rural and Urban Private Hospitals Association, is our guest this hour. We're looking at this very critical issue whereby if you turn up to hospital today, if you turn up to a private hospital today, you will not be able to access under your SHA cover. And the question is why? Well, because there's some money owed, and that's not been sorted out just yet. We'll be back right after this.
People come to me and they say they get discomfort when they have ice cream. Can you imagine that? Avoiding having cold ice cream. Sensodyne gives you long-lasting protections against sensitivity. And people come in and they're like, oh, it works. I can have ice cream and I'm not in any discomfort. I recommend Sensodyne because it works. It's brilliant.
Make your moment without missing a beat with the Oppo Reno 13 series AI photo capability. Capture life as it happens with stunning clarity and seamless motion. Every frame, a masterpiece.
Oppo Reno 13 live photo maridadi. Video kali na ni 4K imagine. IP69 certified, hii ndio latest design. Piga picha AI editor kusaidia kurefine.
President Uhuru Kenyatta alikuwa ametuambia muachane na hii mtu.
Former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua is at the forefront in a series of onslaughts against his former boss, President William Ruto.
Alikuwa anakuja mwadhani agosho. Sasa amekuja kwenu musangarire.
But for a man who has struggled to shake off the regional tag, a man criticized by his former boss as incompetent,
walikuwa na kazi kubwa wakashindwa kwa sababu ya ufisadi.
Look for a mirror before you talk about corruption and look at yourself.
Bure kabisa.
The State House of Nairobi is the real center of corrupt activities.
Will he, as a phoenix, rise from the ashes in a bid to make President Ruto a one-term president?
We owe you no debt.
Tune in this Monday, 24th February 2025.
Mimi naona hatari mbele.
For an exclusive interview with Rigathi Gachagua on the Tales from Mwamunyoro.
solution to these problems?
Good question. Good question, CT. There is a solution. When I speak to Ministry of Health representatives, it is clear to us that the bottleneck is at the National Treasury. Sometimes they come out very clean and they say that we are on the same side with you guys. We want the NHIF arrears sorted. But we also go with a begging ball to Treasury and say, please give us something. So you must understand that at the core of this is national priorities, that the country needs to decide, the nation needs to decide, the government needs to decide what is really important. And I think that education, for example, if we just look at any society, two things, education and healthcare are really non-negotiable goods that governments must provide. And then you can add things like infrastructure, water, and etc. But education and healthcare are non-negotiable for the well-being of a society. If we look at how government is doing its priorities, they have said the first charge on the consolidated fund is sovereign debt.
Yes.
I think the second charge should be any pending bills. Right. Because if you look at it, this country is grinding to a halt. The economy is grinding to a halt because small business people who have rendered government, and government is the largest purchaser of goods and services. They have rendered services to government over the years, have totally been ignored, and that has strangled the economy to an extent that even, banks have stopped loaning businesses. You have businesses that have scaled down massively over the past few years. Now, I don't know about other sectors of the economy, but the healthcare sector generally is much more organized in terms of coming to the table than other sectors. I don't know whether road contractors have associations or they can do things like that. But maybe it's also the problem of you create a road, you finish, you go. But our sector offers services in perpetuity. And so if you look at it, the solution would be, and we had hoped that the supplementary budget that has just been passed would address this issue of liabilities to the healthcare sector. But we were very disappointed with what we saw. Because, for instance, on primary healthcare, they only added 1.8 billion. And we have been here since last year saying 4.1 billion that was allocated was too little. We had actually proposed, and they know. Actually, they know. The Ministry of Health has some very brilliant people. They do extremely brilliant. If you look, if anyone has taken any time to look at policy documents that are churned out by the Kenyan Ministry of Health, they are world-class. Extremely good documents. So these guys know that we need at the minimum 45 billion shillings, for example, to provide primary health services. It is a fact. You cannot even escape it. So when you in turn see a government that is allocating 1.8 billion for a population of 50 million people, you immediately understand that we have a critical question of national priorities. What is important to us as a state?
Right.
Now, when I spoke to the Ministry of Health officials yesterday, one of the things that really got to me and really annoyed me was one person telling me, why do you guys in healthcare think you are so important? You see?
Is it that correct statement?
I'm quoting verbatim.
Okay.
Why do you in healthcare, do you know how many pending bills we have in this country? Then I said, I am aware you have over 600 and something billion pending bills. Then he said, but why do you guys in healthcare think you're so important? I told him that we are only asking for 30B. And you can have a healthcare. This is touching literally every citizen, every home, every corner of this country. Every person is touched. You cannot compare this to, for example, road construction. It will be people in Turkana who will benefit from that road. But when you are paying 30 billion, which is, by the way, smaller than the cost of doing some roads, you touch every single Kenyan life.
Including those ones in that place where the road was being built.
Including those ones immediately, because you build a road and the road leads to no hospital. What the purpose of the road anyway? The road is supposed to get you to a hospital that is functioning.
And on time.
And on time. So we are in the position where the settlement of NHIF arrears for us as a sector is non-negotiable. It is not something that we are going to budge on. It is not something, because as I have said, it is either they settle NHIF liabilities or the sector shuts down.
I just want to make it as simple as it can be for all those policemen and teachers and the other stakeholders, including the ministry listening today, that there are consequences to what you have, resolved to doing today. We're talking about those who cannot be able to first register And then secondly, those who will be asked to please consider another healthcare facility at the moment. Just paint the picture of what exactly the impact would be, the happenings of today to those who really need that service. Yes.
So yesterday we issued guidelines on how services should be suspended.
Yes.
And the purpose why we issued guidelines is because we are professionals and we are ethical and we understand that healthcare is extremely critical. And the patients who come to our hospitals are patients whom we have a relationship for many years. These people some of them have literally become family. You know, you've been seeing people form very personal relationships with their doctors. You've been seeing this doctor, and sometimes when they come to hospital, they even say, I will come back if Dr. So-and-so is not there.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So we understand we have a relationship and a duty to our clients. So we issued guidelines yesterday that informed the public that no one will be turned away if you are in an emergency. So emergency medical services are a constitutional right, and nobody in Kenya should be denied life-saving intervention in the situation of an emergency. So all the facilities under our network will continue to provide emergency care. If somebody shows up in hospital for any reason that is endangering their life, their immediate survival, they will be assisted, and they will be assisted according to normal protocol.
Okay.
We also said in the guidelines that if you are in the hospital right now and you are admitted before the 24th of February, today, if you are in hospital, nothing is going to change. Your existing terms of admission will continue, and we are not changing those terms.
Okay.
So patients who are on the ward should not be worried that at the end of discharge, something is going to change. No, the way you are admitted, if you are under SHA cover or the police cover, we are handling that the same manner. This also goes to pre-booked appointments that happened, that were scheduled before 24th. Here I am talking about, for instance, patients who had pre-booked dialysis, pre-booked chemotherapy sessions. These patients are not going to be disrupted because your appointment was made before the suspension.
Okay.
So we are continuing with care that way. The difference is going to be any new patients that arrive in hospitals starting today. We will very politely and professionally inform them that services under SHA and MAKL for police officers are temporarily suspended.
Unless they have cash.
Unless they have cash or they have. And we will also offer them the option of referral. We are going to be extremely ethical about this. Patients will be referred to facilities of their choice. If patients have alternative medical cover, we will continue to receive that alternative medical cover.
Okay.
And the key statement here is that this suspension is temporary. Some of the statements that people from government are telling us that, oh, please send us the list of all facilities that want to decontract from SHA. We are happy to decontract them immediately. First of all, this is the worst kind of insensitive kind of statements, because
when did this statement come? And
yesterday.
And from whom did it come?
Was it verbal or written?
It is written. Okay. So, we are exchanging. So they write to us and yes. Because we are in a WhatsApp group with many of them.
Okay.
And this also goes to show that we are willing to talk.
Okay.
We will not stop to be in any forum.
Is it the ministry?
It's the ministry, the presidential people.
Right.
It's a lot of people. Let's just say it's government.
Okay.
Okay. So if you want to be decontracted, tell us now. Give us the list of those facilities who you want to decontract. We can decontract even tonight. Then I am like, you guys are not serious with life. The private sector provides half of healthcare in Kenya. The public sector is not in any place able to take the volume of patients who will come if you decontract over 600 healthcare facilities. Where do you want Kenyans to go? So there is an insensitivity at the core of government that is not in touch with the reality of common people. For us, we are saying, look, we do not have a problem with SHA. We supported SHA reforms. We even said that the primary healthcare fund, the emergency critical and chronic illness fund are great innovations. But we have been very particular that government has to put its money where the mouth is. You don't create a fund and then you don't fund it. Okay. You also don't contract providers and then you don't pay them. Because let me tell you, the private sector and faith-based organizations have been subsidizing government on healthcare.
Yes.
We have been financing healthcare for years. financing ourselves. People take overdrafts. People have collateralized their land, their buildings to provide services. And the reason why I want Kenyans to understand this, it is when you walk into a hospital, I started by saying this, when you walk into a hospital and you walk out and you say, my SHA card worked, I want you to remember it is the hospital that worked. It is that hospital on goodwill, because the government has promised to pay it at some future date, that said, I don't care, I will not inconvenience this person before me, I have my own issues with government, I will sort it out. Government has abandoned you.
Okay.
It has said that you and the hospital have your own relationships. Mutajisot.
Let me ask you a question that we've been asking and folks have been talking about for the last couple of months, and it's a simple yes or no question before I go to the next one. Is SHA working?
SHA is working because hospitals are
Is
working.
SHA
No.
working?
Is SHA, okay, let me add something to it. Is SHA working as it was originally designed to, with all factors constant? Is SHA working?
It's a very complex question. NHIF is working.
NHIF does not exist.
I have.
Okay.
Let him.
Let's understand, yes.
I've given you a straight answer. NHIF is working. The only fund that is working in SHA is the SHIF fund. Remember, we have 3 funds: primary healthcare fund, social health insurance fund, and the emergency chronic and critical illness fund.
And to be clear, that the social health insurance fund is where your premiums go and what they pay
100%.
for. Okay.
You see, when Kenyans are saying I'm paying more now than I was paying under NHIF, they are paying to SHIF.
Yes.
SHIF is the one that is receiving your contributions from your salary, or if you are an informal sector, that premium you are paying is SHIF. So SHIF is working.
Okay.
SHIF is working without any contradiction. The 2 funds, the 2 new funds that were, and essentially those 2 new funds are the reform.
Yes.
You see,
the two. So SHIF is essentially NHIF.
Yeah, SHIF is NHIF with more money.
So
All
social
right.
health
So
insurance
let's
funds,
go-
national health insurance funds.
Yeah, this is fine. So SHA.
SHA is not working.
So SHA is when you present yourself to hospital, level 1 or 2, or at that level whereby you're saying basic care, and which essentially government should pay for.
Not SHA. So SHA is this authority that is managing
That oversight
everything.
The oversight,
the umbrella.
the oversight umbrella that has 4 baskets under it.
Under it.
All right.
It has the primary healthcare fund for sorting out your outpatient.
Yes.
Okay.
When you go, these are the 80% of Kenyans go for outpatient. Very few of us get admitted when we go to hospital. So the vast majority are in the primary healthcare fund, Fund 1.
Yes.
The second is in the SHIF fund,
SHIF fund.
which is now sorting out your admissions, okay, especially at level 4, 5, and 6, and your surgeries. That is the fund that I am saying is working. But that fund is essentially NHIF, as it were.
With more money.
With more money, because you know why it has more money. Now, the third fund is the emergency chronic and critical
care
fund. Now, I want to just ask you, if you think critically what you have been listening, the things that are not working are 2 major things. Patients who are going to seek outpatient services, and patients who end up in ICU, or they require cancer care, or they require, care of dialysis. These are so
essentially you're right, Terry, because these are the complaints that we hear over time.
Yes.
That I have gone to hospital.
Yes.
I'm just going to take one one case that we heard here over the phone where we had people who were speaking to us, right? And so just for purposes of understanding this a little bit more, a gentleman who had gone with a headache issue that he had, and he went, and this was your primary level, it was outpatient case. And he was essentially turned back because he was told, well, we're not going to be able to handle that here.
Yeah.
What they didn't tell him is where he should have gone to be able to have that case handled. So at that level, we have a bit of, we have
Communication
communication issues are the major, is the bane of that particular area. Now, when you go up here, when you're going to ICU, again, here where I was dealing with a case just a few weeks ago, where there's a patient in ICU with a bill of almost 600,000 shillings, and SHA eventually ended up paying 84,000 bob.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
So that is where the issue is, that critical care, and down here where you have nothing to do with the payments.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You don't.
Got that.
Hold.
All right, City. Yes, holding.
Just for
Calling us to
clarification.
order.
Yes. Me, I was okay. The SHA thing I got.
Yes.
I'm a bit slow.
Okay.
So let's walk at my pace.
Okay.
Primary health. Outpatient.
Yes.
That one I got.
Yes. You don't pay for that.
I don't pay for that.
No, you don't.
No, but there's a 75.
No, hold on.
Okay.
At that first level, when you go and you want to see the doctor, and you can stop me if I'm wrong, Dr. Harry.
Okay.
When you want to go and see the doctor, right? Outpatient, and they go, maybe you need to see. Essentially, government is supposed to pay for that. You should essentially go to hospital under your SHA cover.
Be walk in, walk out.
You should walk in and you should walk in and walk out without paying a dime.
Okay. If all that has taken me is for the doctor to tell me I don't have tonsillitis, I don't pay a thing.
Nothing.
That's it.
Or if they want to give you like a painkiller or whatever, an antibiotic, you should leave without anything.
The promise is that you should walk in and
the
walk
promise.
Yes.
The promise.
Okay.
Is it working?
That's what we call free, meaning no money comes from my pocket at that point in time.
It's funded by government.
Okay, that one I've gotten. Then we come to emergency and critical care.
No. That's the other.
Up there.
No, it is up there.
Step by step.
But who pays for this?
Government.
Emergency.
Now, the one in the middle.
What is the one in the middle?
Is this one where is shift, okay?
Oh,
the
shift
one in the middle is where
now
you go.
Admission.
Yes.
So when I'm admitted,
so admitted.
Yeah, but critical care I'm admitted. Yeah, am I not?
So let me just explain, City. So they separated admissions into critical, chronic, and regular admissions. So patients are put in different categories depending on the severity of their medical condition.
Right.
So if it's an emergency case, you will be under the emergency chronic and critical illness fund.
Correct.
But if you have a chronic illness, and we have medical definitions for what a chronic illness is, it has to go beyond a certain time, and it has to be a disability that stays with you, let's say, for life.
Yes.
Isn't it?
Yes.
So that fund is the emergency chronic and critical illness fund.
Okay.
But most patients fall under the SHIF fund when they are admitted.
Yes.
So this
And
emergency
you pay for
chronic
it.
critical, that is what we are calling the third tier.
Yes.
The third tier, yes.
And this one, who pays for it?
Government
and donors.
Just hold it. So the fund this money that I am paying
is in the middle.
SHIF.
It just goes to SHIF, period.
Yeah.
Yes.
So government is taking care of primary health,
Yeah.
taking care of chronic. Actually works.
Exactly.
All right.
But what the problem
But is it
is
enough for
here,
your critical?
the problem is here is that government promised you,
Yes. They
okay,
did. Yes, they
that
did.
at levels 1,
Yes.
2, 3,
3,
you are fine.
you would be okay.
Okay. All right. I am not okay.
So now do we understand?
Yes. Now,
Yes.
But you said there were 4 levels. We had 3. What's the fourth one?
Sorry, for facilities or the fourth fund.
Yeah.
That is the civil service fund,
Okay.
which was recently incorporated, we think, extrajudicially or extra legal.
Is it?
Because you see the social health, the SHIF Act, which established everything,
Didn't have it.
only has 3 funds. Okay, so this other fund has been snuck in, but it's okay, you know. But so it is the civil servants fund.
Okay.
So SHA, this large authority is managing these 3 pockets, these 4 pockets.
And civil service fund, who funds this one?
They are what are they called? Collective bargaining agreements between civil servants and government.
All right.
So this is from their payroll. As you are getting employed, one of the benefits you are given as a civil servant is a medical cover.
That's
Thank
where
you
the
very much.
police
Who
and the
pays for
teachers are
it?
coming in.
You could say, to be precise, government pays for that.
Okay.
No.
Let me
But you
just
don't contribute.
No, but it's a benefit that they give to civil servants. It's an employer benefit. So it is the employer who remits the funds. It's government who remits the fund. Can I just push this a little bit,
Yes.
City?
Yes.
Anywhere you go to hospitals, those 3 funds, the primary healthcare fund, the chronic and critical illness fund, and the civil servant scheme are the ones that are dragging down this thing. And if you ask yourself who is responsible for them, it's government. Government is responsible for primary health care, is responsible for civil servants, is responsible for emergency, chronic, and critical illness. Right now in Nairobi, and now it's countrywide,
Yes.
there is no civil servant who can get care under the civil servant scheme. That one is just an iceberg. We are not even talking about that. The reality of the matter is that if you are a civil servant, no hospital will take civil service cover. And if you ask hospitals, why are you not taking civil servants cover, they will tell you, these civil servants haven't paid us since 2017. They have our money for years. And who is supposed to pay civil servants money? It is their employer, aka government. So the problem we have, like literally, I want Kenyans to understand this, that the government is not putting its money where its mouth is, and it is not showing commitment to address its obligations. It is basically what government is saying, and I've alluded to it here, is that why should healthcare think it is special?
Yeah.
No, no.
Okay. You know, I think, look.
There's an interpretation that I have to offer.
All right.
It comes out as though this is insensitive and rude. But what if the person you're talking to finds themselves in a position where they actually do not know what to do? Because, yes, that is an official. Okay? Do you really think the person that they're talking to is the person who determines where the money goes? No.
Okay, who are you talking to?
No, that's not the person who determines where the money goes.
Who are you talking to? Because as far as we're concerned, he's mentioned.
I'm telling you.
We're talking to literally. We are talking to literally everyone who has power within the ministry.
And they wouldn't know what.
No. First of all, we have a budget-making parliament, don't we? So, are we saying that it is the ministry that influences what amount is actually allocated to healthcare? Or are we saying, because if we say that, then we're saying then that parliament we have should not exist.
Because
it's a budget-making parliament.
Is it the treasury?
But we still also, so you make a good point, City. We still need to hold parliament accountable. And I think this is a message to citizens that last week when the SHA officials went to Parliament and asked for 77 billion in more funding, Parliament turned them down.
Yeah.
For me, this was really a shame, you know. Regardless of whatever problems we might say SHA has, SHA needs money. So it is not fair for parliamentarians to turn them down when they make requests for money. I think that for them to throw at SHA 1.8 billion, really, they are punishing Kenyans. Their parliament is punishing Kenyans just to look good that they are doing something.
I need you to tell us in 30 seconds, Dr. because our time sadly is running out. So the hospitals where people essentially go today and not get the care that they need under the authority, when will this change? Are we saying that the bank now opens this up again? What are we talking about?
We are willing to talk, and we have told everyone who can listen to us that we understand that you are in a tight physical space. You know, that's what government has said over and over. We don't have all the resources. Fine. We are reasonable people. We are service providers. Let them give us a payment plan at the very minimum. Okay. We have claims at NHIF that were at accounts payable that are at EFT stage. It just needs a click of a button, and those payments are in hospital bank accounts. Anything that is at accounts payable or at EFT stage, which they froze in October last year, they should press the button and release the money. That is the first thing. So for us, NHIF issues are non-negotiable. There are other claims within NHIF that were still at different stages. We are okay. It will take 2 months, a month to adjudicate. As long as there is goodwill and commitment to adjudicate those ones, we are fine as long as they are going. In fact, what we have proposed is just agree to pay a little amount every month. Okay. Until all this debt it clears. We will talk to our banks. We will talk to our suppliers and tell them
it's coming in Abuja. Yeah. It's going to rain. Thank you very much for joining us this morning, Dr. Brian Lishenga. We know what we want to do. We know that it's a bit of a tight spot, and you need to take a break at some point because you're going to be having many meetings with many people this morning, and going into Monday, it's going to be a crazy day. Yeah. We're going to need you to take an moment, not a SHA moment, an moment with Delamere yogurt. It's great stuff. If CT gives you the strawberry, which I see that's what he's holding, it's got real fruit in it. So have an moment with Delamere on us.
Okay.
There you go.
Thank you, guys.
At least he's smiling his way out.
I have not had breakfast, so this is amazing.
Very healthy. And this is what Delamere says. That can be your breakfast on the go. Thanks for being here this morning.
Amazing.
Dr. Brian Lishenga is the chair of the Rural and Urban Private Hospitals Association, Asante Sana. Good morning. It's 9 a.m.